we've got a lot to talk about. So today, August 22nd, we've got the sun going to the sign of Virgo. And it's obviously at 0 degrees at the beginning of Virgo. But what's so interesting is not only is that happening, but it's going to be activating at least 3 planets out in the ethers. It's going to be activating Saturn and Neptune on one side and Pluto on the other, and it's going to be sitting right at the midpoint of those two. Now, on top of that, we've got a new moon happening at 2 a.m. tomorrow morning on the 23rd, which is going to activate that further, because this is obviously happening again at 0 degrees Virgo. So what happens when something like this happens at 0 degrees Virgo? It's like it emphasizes the newness of the beginning, of the newness of all the opportunities that are coming up for us. And in the sign of Virgo, Virgo likes to make small changes. It likes to focus on the details. It likes to edit. It likes to improve things. It likes to fix things. And with the sun and the moon both coming up there and activating on the one side the Saturn and Neptune, on the other side the Pluto, and being right at the midpoint of that, it's like asking us to look at all of these little changes that we've been wanting to make in our lives, that we've been putting off. Maybe we were too lazy, maybe we just couldn't find the time. For whatever reason, we haven't been doing them. But making those little changes is going to make all the difference in our lives, because the Saturn Neptune on the one side is asking us to start manifesting those dreams that we have, to make the changes that we need to make in order to bring what we've always dreamed of into reality. And who do we need to be to do that? Because this is that they're in Aries. So that's about being authentic, being our authentic self in ways that we haven't been to date. And that's part of that big shift that we're making all year long. That Saturn and Neptune, it's a huge part of it. And then on the other side, we've got Pluto in Aquarius, which is asking us to look at how we show up in the collective, how we are part of the social networks, how we're engaging with technology, how we're engaging with stuff that's out there, with our community as well, with our nation, even in some ways. And do we like that? Or there are parts of it that we need to transform. There's parts of it that there's changes that we need to make, that the moon and the sun are showing us, that's going to help us to step into our power so we can be more powerful actors in our community, in our organizations, in our families, even in our networks. And we can come together, stepping into our authentic selves, stepping into who we want to be, who we're shifting to become in this entire year. And so right now it's about making those little changes that are going to move us in that direction. Now, on top of all this, we've got, so today on the 22nd, I talked about this in this morning's video already, but we've got this Venus making a square to Chiron. So that is about us wanting to really focus on the truth, and we want to get to the truth no matter what. Just be aware that truth may be something you don't really want to hear, something that hurts, some lesson there that you need to learn, but you haven't learned yet. So just be aware of that, because that can be jarring, that can be hard to take. And Venus is asking us now, it's saying that we really do want to know this. We really want to get to the bottom of this. But we need to also, with the moon and the sun going into Virgo, we need to make those small changes to look at that truth and to take it in and to integrate it into ourselves, to integrate the lessons as well, and then decide how we're going to move forward in a more authentic way, in a way that's going to make a difference, not only to ourselves, but also to our community, right? And then with this new moon at 2 a.m. tomorrow, and I'm talking about Eastern time, so Pacific time, this is actually 11 p.m. So Pacific time, this is actually at 11 p.m. on the 22nd. But whether, yeah, it's right, it's overnight anyway, this new moon. So when that happens, the moon and sun are going to be squaring, making a challenging angle to Uranus and also the mini dwarf planet Sedna, and that together is not necessarily all that comfortable. It may show up as changes that we need to make that are kind of thrust on us, or that's what it feels like, and we're not sure we're ready. But nevertheless, we have to deal with them. And with Sedna often brings in a feeling of abandonment or a feeling of being pushed overboard. That's what the myth is actually about. A girl who was pushed overboard, or her fingers were cut off. But anyway, she's thrown overboard by her father, and she sinks to the bottom of the sea, and she has to make her new way. She has to go forward and survive, and she does. She survives and she thrives, but it's not easy. So that's what could be coming in with this moon and sun, of course, squaring the Uranus, which is about suddenness and like being in the moment and things, unexpected things happening and having to do things in a new way, together with the Sedna, with that abandonment, or that leaving something behind, something that was comfortable and familiar, and now we've got to be pioneers, right? So there's a lot coming in with this change of the sun into Virgo, and because it's happening at this time, it's going to be basically with us. This energy is going to be with us through until the sun changes signs again in September, the 22nd, I think, of September. It'll be going into Libra. But in the meantime, we've got this energy, this energy of change and of making small improvements and of having to do the things that maybe we've been putting off and that are hard to do, so that we can move forward and become the dream, become who we really want to be, who we're kind of meant to be in this lifetime. So that's what I think this month is about. And I should say also, this is also setting up a period of 3 eclipses that are going to be coming up in September and the beginning of October. So those could bring some sudden changes. I'll talk about those a lot more in a different video, but this energy, we're starting to feel that already now. And there's a lot coming in September to kind of add on to this and give this more flavor. But this gives you a taste of what this next month is going to be, with the sun going into Virgo and with this new moon. For the next 2 weeks until it becomes full, we're going to be building on this energy. So just be aware of that and use this to make those changes that you need to make, that you need to make, and you've been wanting to make, and you've been pushing yourself to make, but you just couldn't quite do it yet. So now's the time to start doing those and to figure out how I can do that. The other thing I forgot to mention is that the 5 and the 7 vibe are both being activated at the time when the sun moves into Virgo today. So the 5 and the 7 vibe. Okay, so 5 is about playfulness. It's about creativity. It's more about organic flow. And the planets that are involved in that are Saturn, Neptune, and the moon. So that kind of builds on that theme of feeling into how to make those changes that we need to make in order to go forward, but doing it in a playful way, giving ourselves permission to, maybe mess up and try a different way. And, maybe that didn't work exactly as I wanted. So, let's make this other edit too. So yeah, try to be a little bit playful with this. And the 5 is doing it alone. It's not necessarily with other people's help. So just keep that in mind as well, and just allow yourself to play as you feel called. The 7 vibe then is about intense, well, not necessarily intense, but focused discipline, and working on something for, with a lot of discipline. Yeah. Just, going really focusing on it and wanting to get it done. And there's a huge pattern that's with 5 planets involved in this energy, which is also being activated at the exact same time as the sun going into Virgo. And those planets are Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, Uranus, and the moon a little bit. So that kind of invites us to really re-engineer, in a way, how we want to go forward, how we want to, what our passion is, and maybe to look at, our passions that we've had in the past and see if those passions are still real, still true to us, if that's still something that gets us excited to get out of bed in the morning, or if we need to make some adjustments there. So that's something else to kind of be aware of and to allow yourself to really dive into in the next 2 to 4 weeks. So that's what I've got for you today on the sun going into Virgo and the moon, the new moon on the 23rd or 22nd if you're on the Pacific coast. That's the energy that we're going to carry forward for the next month or so. So I will, like I said, give you more on the eclipses, still do the daily things so you get little tastes of what's happening each day, but that's the overall energy for this month. So have a great day, or have a great weekend. And remember the small astrology groups, the next one will be on Monday, August 25th. So sign up for that if you want to hang out with other people who love astrology and talk about not only what's going on in the skies for everybody, but also how that affects you personally, because that's what we're going to do in these little groups. So the link is going to be in the description, but basically it's on my website, www.equalcondorcenter.org. Have a great weekend, and I will catch you next time.